Welcome to Gen Z Hoops, the Gen Z basketball, coaching, and sports business show. On this podcast, you'll learn from professional players, coaches, and executives from all over the world and see the court in a brand new way. And now, joining you courtside, your Gen Z host, John Hartofilis.
Rick, what's going on?
Everything's great, John. How you doing, man?
Doing great. Really excited to have you on. Obviously, this episode's been a while in the making. It was awesome meeting you a few years ago at the Big Man Camp, and obviously getting to talk to you now on the show is awesome.
It's about damn time.
Definitely. It is about damn time. But I mean, it also is, I have to ask you one question. It's been a while since you asked me this one, and I'm curious to know if you remember the answer. Do you have any idea who the 4 players are in NBA history to win a high school championship, an NCAA championship, an NBA championship, and Olympic gold medal?
No, I remember. I want to know if you still remember.
Oh, of course. I mean, I won the $100 at your camp for knowing the trivia.
Yeah. No, I'm broke since then. So so for your fans, name all 4.
Magic Johnson, Jerry Lucas, Quinn Buckner, who's what everyone gets wrong, and then of course the ultimate winner in Bill Russell. But everyone always gets to the Quinn Buckner one. Everyone's who's Quinn Buckner, who's Jerry Lucas. Everyone always thinks it's Jordan. Everyone always thinks it's guys like that, but it always
or Bird, or Bird,
or Kareem,
or Kareem. But when you look at it as Magic, and you go, everybody knows who Magic is. It's like, oh, Magic Johnson and all this stuff. I'm sitting there going like, what, basketball is bigger than everything that we, when you look at it. And I'll explain more I'll let you do your questions, but then I got my little rant as usual.
Oh, no, I can't wait for that rant. But I mean, of course, there definitely are a few questions of your background, so our listeners kind of get to know you, because everyone always knows about the Pistons days, but there's so much more to your story that maybe people don't know about. You're getting cut from your high school team, developing your game there, eventually getting to college. I mean, what was that? I'm curious about those first days, right? Because that's where the passion really developed for you, of getting cut from your high school team and then ending up to playing 18 years in the league is crazy. I mean,
well, the early days was, I got cut, but at that time when I got cut, I was like 5'11", 5'11", and I got cut. I was a little heavy, a heavy guy, but I'm not body shaming anybody being heavy. But I guess God had bigger plans for me. He ended up sprinkling some dust on me, and I grew from 5'11" to 6'6" over a summer. So at that time, your body kind of develops. It's about 16, 17, you start to develop who you're going to be as far as moving on in your early adulthood. So what happened was I tried out, got cut. Was it motivation to get back on the team? I could say yes, I could say no, but I was a better football player. So, ended up playing, being better at football than I was at basketball, which is funny, John. I'm like, okay. I tried one sport, but tried another sport. And then I said, I got tired. I didn't develop my game until I got into college at a D2 school, which is a historically Black college in Hampton Institute at the time. Now it's university. So that's how long I've been away. But the funny thing about it is that I developed my game in college. Like my first year, didn't know how to make a layup. These things, it took time. But, if you dedicate yourself in the way my coaches basically on me to be, develop, and that's just life, period. You have to develop in life, no matter if it's a sport, no matter if it's an occupation, no matter as a parent. You have to evolve as the best person you can be.
Great advice, and it's kind of a similar thing that you told us at the camp about just what basketball could do for you. I mean, I was also cut from my high school team, and while I'm not playing 18 years in the league, I'm still getting the chance to work in basketball, and that's of course that's what the dream's all about. So I mean, obviously you mentioned, right, Hampton being a D2 school, maybe not the most heralded prospect coming out, but you did end up going to the league and then proving yourself year after year after year there. First year with the Bullets, you have this really cool story. I mean, you had great mentors, and I'm sure that really helped. Someone like Wes Unseld, who you being maybe someone that was unproven, then getting the chance to learn from one of the greats and prove yourself.
John, mentorship is very important in all aspects of life. I was mentored by a guy where a lot of people, in your podcast and listening to you don't know who Wes Unseld is, but I'll make sure they know now, because Wes Unseld was an MVP and a Rookie of the Year in the same year. It's only 2 people who got that feat, and I told you, I probably would want my $100 back if you'd have told me. But it's only 2 people who obtained that feat, and that was Wes Unseld, and that was Wilt Chamberlain. So that's company there. People know who Wilt still is, but nobody knows who Wes Unseld is. And unfortunately, I lost him this past year, which has been rough for everybody out there. So my dad in the NBA was mentoring me. So he taught me the ins and out, not just basketball. Everybody thinks it's all about dribbling that ball. No, it's about things that you conduct yourself as being a professional in this league and a professional in life. And I mean, me and Mitch, we preach that. And George, we want to be professional. We want to have the right etiquette of presenting in Fort Worth. A lot of people don't understand that when you play this game, it's just not a game. It's life. The game of life is the most important thing about survival and everything. So being with the Bullets, lucky to be around a historic guy that I watched on television, the people like Dr. J, people like Bob Lanier, these are the old warriors that we talk about where you don't see the flash where they're shooting 3-pointers. No, you see guys learning how to play in between the lines. And when you play in between the lines, that makes that makes it successful.
Definitely, I can imagine, right? Just all that mentorship with an all-time great like Wes Unseld over with the Bullets. But then you end up getting traded to Detroit, and I'm sure I read up about how you really weren't too happy about that. But then you obviously hear about what the culture was like in Detroit. Isaiah gives you a call. Bill Laimbeer talks to you. What made you realize, okay, like we're going to do something special here?
Well, the thing, I don't know how special it was, but I hated Detroit. I didn't, I did get a call from Isaiah. Didn't know, I don't know how he got my number because it was a private number at the time, but he called me and it's like, I'm so glad I ain't got to run any of your picks. And I knew who it was. It was like, why you calling me? But that's when I learned the business of basketball. Basketball is a business. And Bill Laimbeer, I hated his guts then. I love him now. But that was the point, in life where you said, do I want to be in this league? And I really didn't put forth an effort over summer. John, I was like, man, I don't feel like going to Detroit. Didn't play ball, didn't do anything. Came in out of shape, ready. My career was about to be over because it's not that my career would have been over. It was more like take pride in what you do for a living. And I did it. Lost weight, came back. And then that's when I realized that we lost to the Boston Celtics and we lost this team, Atlanta Hawks, at a time where, I wasn't the best person I can be. But when I came back that next year, man, nothing stopped us. And then we were hunting for a championship and we finally achieved that goal. And then all of a sudden it was like achieving a goal at the highest pinnacle that you could do in the NBA, winning the championship, but then turning around and you're going, oh, I just got left unprotected after winning the championship in the expansion draft. So that's when I realized, well, I already knew that basketball is a business and what's your next opportunity. And God closes one door and opens up another one for you. And I believe in that wholeheartedly.
That's a huge message, and it's obviously something that's super important, and we'll touch on it so much at the end. I remember the story you told us about the orange ball and kind of what it could do for you. Keen on that time with the Pistons. I mean, George Blaha, who you later worked with, called you the baddest bad boy of them all. And that's obviously something that's a persona you took on in Detroit. But did Detroit bring it out of you, or was the bad boy always inside of you?
Man, a bad boy was already inside of me. It was crazy because it wasn't that it's the bad boy. It was more of the underdog attitude that I had, being from a small, historically Black college and being projected as a project as your senior year in college. And you're going like, I'm a project? Okay. It was always the unproven, but I wanted to prove. So the baddest of the bad boys, sometimes you get a moniker and you take it and you run with it. It was like my whole thing was I was a beef brother in Washington. Then I come to Detroit. I'm a bad boy. Then from bad boy to bump and thump in Philadelphia with Charles Barkley. So it's kind of like my rough edge competing. I mean, I wasn't gifted to be the fastest. I wasn't the fastest. I wasn't the most athletic, but I learned to use my mind. And a lot of people don't understand your mind They say your mind can take you in places you don't even know. So basically, it was a dedication to what I wanted to do and be passionate about what I did for a living.
You left out McFilthy and McNasty. I'm sure maybe there's some other ones out there somewhere, right?
McFilthy, McNasty, Bump and Thump. Gosh, I can't even remember. I got some T-shirts. The Big Bad Wolf going to Minnesota, but I never got there. They made T-shirts and everything, and I never got to the Minnesota Timberwolves. So it was, and then get to, Philadelphia, and then after a while, you just tend to be who you are. So that was the fun about survival in the NBA.
And I know it's the kind of slogan of the big man campus. Sometimes you got to be bad to play good, right? You and the team were both really, really good, finally eclipsing the Lakers, the Celtics, and winning those championships. I mean, what was that kind of hurdle like? I mean, you always talk about finally getting to kick that Leprechaun because it was always kind of there. It was always kind of haunted over you. But year after year, one hurdle keeps on getting crossed.
Hey, John, this is the thing. If I kick, I kick that Leprechaun. If I kick him now on social media right now, I'll be like Kyrie. Is all of a sudden it's a disgrace to kick Lucky. But it was just, the thing is to fight against guys like Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, just the historic Hall of Famers that we had to get over the hump. Robert Parrish, Kevin McHale, Dennis Johnson. And you look back and you go like, man, it was an uphill battle. And you know what? That taste and that hunger was always there. It was like we wanted it to the point that, all of a sudden, you had to do what you had to do. It wasn't that I was, when I say the word bad, doesn't mean that you are bad. It means that in a good way. You have to be, a little on edge, a little chip on your shoulder like I had all through life and through now. You got to have a chip on your shoulder to be, if you are, people doubt you, then you want to make them understand that, hey, I'm going to fight you tooth and nail until I become the best.
And kind of right in that whole story, right? I mean, one of my favorite 30 for 30 ever is the Bad Boys 30 for 30 because it was so much fun. It was back
That's
when I was
you
a little
know me.
younger.
That's because you know me.
I didn't know you when I watched it. I was 14 years old. I had never really known about it, and it came out. It was really. I was like, wow, okay, this is a great because everyone always talks about right Jordan and Magic, and there's a spot in there where the Pistons are there. And you guys are being the Bad Boys, and that whole story I thought was so cool. So this is even before I knew you, but what's it like, kind of because there's the two sides of it, right? There's a side where everyone's like, oh, they didn't shake their hands, and there's maybe that negative there, but there's also the positive. Everyone's celebrating the great team that you guys were. So I mean, what's it like kind of seeing come to life?
Who the hell, when has it been in professional sports you go shake somebody's hand after you get your butts kicked? I just, and I wasn't there for that particular thing, but what the NBA has done is it goes Boston, Lakers, Chicago, and then Golden State or whatever. Instead of them saying, given a team that won back-to-back championships, another team in Houston Rockets that won back-to-back championship, can't skip over history. But it's something that when you look at it, a lot of times we read in a lot of books and you understand what a lot of things are skipped in history. And is it purposely? I think so. It's a lot of things that we dealing with right now in the social, the social issues that are going on throughout the United States. A lot of things is, kind of blocked out. But what I loved about the 30 for 30, you got to know us. You got to know that we were passionate as a team. And we did a job that very few have done. I mean, it was 12 of us. We were hunkered down. We sacrificed. And that's the best part of it. When you sacrifice for what you do and you're passionate about what that you really love, that's what helped us. And, that's what got us over the hump. The Leprechaun knocking the ball, the Bird to go to Dennis Johnson. Yeah, we should have been in that year. We should have beat Boston, but it was game 7. We lose. It was, it was something that emotionally it just made us hungry. So that's what it was all about. But shaking hands, I understand you get participation trophies and you want to be, I ain't shaking no. I mean, come on, man, you kicked my butt. Oh, thank you very much for kicking our ass. I got to walk off the court. And the people don't know the dynamics of what the Pistons, what the arena, the Palace, for example, we had to walk across the visiting team's bench. Normally you could walk from your bench into your locker room. But at that time, the way they configured the Palace, it was like you had to walk across. We had the longest walk from our gym. Usually it's the shortest walk. So that's when you see Isaiah and them walking off the court. Hey, man, please. If somebody asked me, no, I wouldn't have shook their hands either. I might have punched them.
No, always funny thinking about that, and of course, it's interesting just thinking about that whole dynamic. But I mean, you were talking about that hunger a little while ago, and right, of course, like how that kept you going. And but playing 18 years in the league, right? People, if I forget maybe how hard that is. So few players have done that. Once you get to even after year 10, it's so hard, and the numbers just plummet. I mean, how did you extend your career to play those last 18 years in New Jersey, going back to Philly, back to Detroit, back to Philly? Like, what allowed you to stay in the league and keep your game going?
I could tell you. Expansion. I mean, you got to figure I came in the league and it was 22 teams and it was only 11 on, when I came in the league, it was 21 teams and they expanded the year that I got drafted. So Dallas came in and it was just 22 teams. No high school players would have, what they're doing now would have never made it. And, because the last high school people back then was Daryl Dawkins, Bill Willoughby, and Daryl Dawkins and Bill Willoughby and Moses Malone. And those were the guys because at that particular time, John, people don't understand, it was two leagues, ABA and the NBA. So now you have more, it's not that you have more competition. Yeah, you do have competition amongst leagues trying to get solidified. So when the ABA, dissolved, all of a sudden no high school players were coming out. That was the thing. No high school players. We only had a 12-man roster. And then as the league expanded to the other 8 teams, it was like, okay, the product to me, and I still figure this today, the product gets a little bit diluted. So you want to have the veterans and the mentorship. So it was like, okay, I'm looking at a Vince Carter. It's no way we need to be in this league 40, at 40, 41. And I'm going like, man, please, who else is going to pay me 6 figures or 7 digits, 7 figures to stay and play a game that I would play for free? So that helped me as the league expanded, which is good. But as they expanded, it was more like the rosters expanded, the 15 to 17, what it looks like now. So that's why you see a lot of young men, trying to leave from college after 1 year going in the league. So the explanation of me staying in the survival, I remember the great Caldwell Jones told me, stay in here as long as you can, because when they kick you out, you ain't getting back in.
And you spoke about this at the camp. I alluded to it earlier, the whole story about what the orange ball could do for you, right? And what it kind of allowed you to do, right? Obviously you had to work really hard for it, but you kind of told us it can get you a house, it can get you a super hot girlfriend, it can get you the nicest car, right? But
I ain't tell you it was a super hot girlfriend. The ladies do be looking at that money, son.
But none of those things can get you good at dribbling and shooting that orange ball. You could take you overseas. It could show you the world. The orange ball could do so much for you. I mean, we haven't even touched on your coaching career and all that other stuff. But I mean, what has that orange ball maybe allowed you to do, and how's it changed your life?
That orange ball is a beast, man. And you know what? I never really explained. A lot of times you see that orange ball, it opens up the door. That's one first and foremost. But here's the thing, John. Those things on the side, the stripes, the grooves, that's your veins, that's the blood. And you got to figure start somewhere. You have that heart as we have in our bodies, but that vein goes further. It's endless. It's like it just in a ball, in that circular motion, the ball just keeps going round and round and round and round. And what it does, it opens up opportunities. It may not stop on what you think about, but for me, it opened up the door for announcing, opened up the door for community services, still working with a great organization, still being involved in the association as the NBA. It keeps me relevant, but it also, it feeds me. It helps my family. So these are the things, it gives me opportunities that basketball, man, them veins, it just keeps going and it keeps pouring out. So it opens up the doors for people trying to say, okay, I want to be a basketball player. That's all well and good. That's part of the story. But the best part of the story is the end of the story. You want to start something, but at the end, you want to finish at a high level. So it's not even, it's the climax. It's the, okay, let's walk into the sunlight and let's just enjoy what we're doing. But every day, that ball opens up so many doors of relationships, opportunities, things that open up the door to promote yourself. That's what I like about, that basketball is a beast.
Definitely, that's the best way to. I've never heard someone describe it as a beast, but I do love that because that's exactly what it is. It could really do so much for you. And I mean, and thinking about maybe just the evolution from you being a player to now being a coach. I mean, that's one thing I'm also curious about, right? Coaching the Rockford Lightning in the CBA, winning multiple championships with the Detroit Shock. I mean, did you have that urge right away when you finished playing? Did you know you were going to do it to go into coaching? Or did it just happen?
It kind of happened because when I did, it was opportunity. Brendan Sir and Isaiah Thomas at the time were running the CBA. And I got a call because I just kind of retired, but I was doing, commentating Philadelphia. And I got this call from Brendan Sir, say, hey, you'd like to, try some coaching. And Chuck Daly told me way back I would be a great coach. And I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever, Chuck, great Chuck Daly. Ended up going to the Rockford Lightning at that time, and they were in last place. Got them in there in the middle of the year, ended up being in the first place from winning like 17, losing 6. And we ended up having the first place in the division. Ended up losing in the finals, semifinals in the CBA. I wanted that championship really bad. But that opened up the door to go coach with the Atlanta Hawks. And then that also opened up the door to come back here to Detroit and coach with Bill Lambier, my other bad boy. So we ended up winning a few championships. And then that opened up the door for commentating as well. And then it opened up the door for now what I do with the Big Three. Won a championship there, probably the only team that, professional league where I was undefeated. I was 10-0. And nobody, that's something when you look at it in the league, no team has really ever been undefeated winning a championship. And I was one of the first to do it.
No, it's incredible. And whether it's this CBA, WNBA, TBT, it's obviously really awesome thinking about how you're continuing that love for the game with coach. I mean, thinking about you and Bill and being on the same staff, I would love to be a fly on the wall for some of those post-game coaching discussions. I'm sure those are great.
It was just basically working with a really good friend that was very smart and the guy that deserves to be in the NBA coaching. I mean, he's proven it, and at the WNBA level, he's proven it to be one of the best. It's just opportunities that come around, and he hasn't got that opportunity to be that, get a chance to be. He tried it in the NBA, went one route, but I guess more of the people don't like his attitude. But he's a passionate guy, knows the game in and out. So, coaching every day, John, for me is your family. Coaching is something that you continue to learn day to day, and you're a coach basically for your whole life because it's basically teaching.
Of course, and it's so incredible, right? Watching you just teach that and spread that knowledge. What kind of made you think about the big man camp? Because obviously it's going on for a few years and it's going great. I mean, I had a great experience going. So many other players have had the same thing. I mean, me being maybe a little undersized with all the other 7-footers there, but it's still a great time.
You held your own. You held your own.
Thank you. I'm happy I got you on tape. I'm happy I got that on tape.
John. And then when you made a shot, you was like, yeah, they ain't so big, huh?
I remember that because I remember I got low. You kept on preaching, get low at the camp. I got low, did a little drop step, made it. You were like, there you go. Because I was Big John. There was a 7'4" guy also named John, but he was Little John. I was Big John. And you're like, yeah, Big John. Yeah, it was good times, man. Those were good times. But still, I mean, what sparked you to think about doing your own camp, doing a big man camp? Right, the only big man camp that there is.
Well, the thing is, everybody thinks big men are dinosaurs, but it's basically trying to teach big men how to evolve into this game of basketball, the evolution of it. They want the bigs to shoot the threes and open up the court. Yeah, that's all well and good. But when you look at the playoffs, as you see a guy that's going to win MVP this year, and his name is the Joker. The Joker is one of to me, so fundamentally sound. He can't jump high. He can't run fast, but he can sit up there and dance on you. It's all about your footwork. As Shaquille O'Neal, it's about your feet work, your feet. And it's your footwork that can make you even better. It's not how fast you are. Look at Luka Doncic. And I see the way that he plays. He's but he's a guy that can understand to get into the paint. You don't have to shoot threes all the time. The best, highest percentage shot is the dunk, but it's also the highest percentage shot that where this guy is on the court, and you got to be able to be smart enough to know your limitations. And also, the reason why I started this big man camp, Mitch Smith has done a great job of using the psychiatry with it and understanding that we do have things mentally that we have to come across. So it's more like a mentoring mental basketball camp. And that's what's fun about working with George and Mitch with this project. This project has been life fulfilling for me because, like I said, it kind of keeps me relevant. So it's also that I meet people like yourself and see what you're doing after. And, you're looking at your wall, looking at all that sports stuff you got, even the emblem on your sweatshirt. You're so, the basketball is so enthusing for you that it makes me feel good that and you're doing what you're doing with your podcast. It makes me proud. That's why I was mad at you when you said, they had all these people on there. So I don't want to hear that crap.
This is definitely going to be an episode I'm going to have to share around a lot. I mean, it's been such a good time and it's such a good story. But going back to Big Man Camp, it's incredible, right? The work you guys are able to do with everyone. But can you kind of tell our listeners a little bit about maybe, because you guys have done it in Detroit, you've done it in New York City, even overseas a couple of times. Like what really has been kind of the evolution of the camp to kind of where at the beginning it's all big men and now we're adding guards in. There's so many new things coming up.
Because it incorporates the whole game. I mean, you need guards to understand what a big man likes, and you also need to know a big man needs to know what a guard likes. Because when I remember playing myself, if you threw the ball at this one guy, his name is Marvin Payne, he would never bend down to get the ball. You throw it to him, a bounce pass, he didn't want a bounce pass. He wanted it right in the breadbasket. And that's the thing where a guard can kind of teach a big man, this is the only way I can make this pass, and it's a bounce pass. Now, as a big man, I always tell you to be down and be in a ready position. Once you get the ball down on the box, you'll be able to do things and able to move quicker than getting the ball in your chest, then squatting down and being ready. No, that's a half a second that the defense gets on you. So to expand this camp, you got to have guards involved. And then guards want to be big guys and big guys want to be guards. So it kind of helps one-on-one. When you look at guys like Jason Kidd, for example, didn't want to shoot the three ball. When he got to Dallas, he ended up shooting the three ball because Dirk Nowitzki was up there doing his thing. And next thing you know, that kind of blended together. And next thing you know, Jason Kidd is shooting threes. And Dirk is up there giving them the ball. So it's also confidence and trust.
It's huge, right? And having that confidence, trust in your point guard, or having that kind of confidence, maybe more so like that flow of if there's just really this really fluid blend of talents, but also of skills and personalities is huge. I'm sure everyone listening to this is loving, right? Your enthusiasm, the way you talk, and all your energy. I mean, I know you're doing all this stuff on the radio with SiriusXM. I mean, where can people listen to you and hear some of your analysis day in and day out?
Well, you can hear me every Saturday on satellite radio, SiriusXM satellite radio, the NBA channel. And also you can hear me. I also have another podcast. It's called The Krush House. That's on every Friday. You can listen to me on there. As far as this is more, the Krush House is more of a, just where you sit back and talk and relax, like I'm doing now. I can be in my pajamas and talk to you, but I ain't in my pajamas. But it's just the fact that's where you can reach me. Also during the Pistons game during the year.
Perfect. And I think a lot of us are going to be doing that. I'm really expecting to get a lot of texts about this one. This was just so much fun. And Rick, I just want to thank you so much because, of course, you're doing a million things at once, but for taking the time to come on the show, and it's going to be a good one.
Yeah. Thank you so much, John. Next time, you know what? If I'm not the first on your projects, don't talk to me no more. Lose my number. No, be good. Be safe out there for you and your fans.
for listening to Gen Z Hoops. Make sure to follow, like, and subscribe on Instagram, LinkedIn, and all major social media platforms at Gen Z Hoops. You can tune in and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and every other podcast platform on the planet. Get ready for the next episode.